So now with Greg Berhalter finally releasing his Gold Cup roster for the USMNT's Gold Cup campaign this summer, it leaves us with a bunch of questions. But the main question I want to ask you guys, and just in general, is who are the players that need to have a big performance at the Gold Cup this summer if they want to cement themselves as like mainstays of the USMNT rosters for future rosters, and of course for that World Cup qualifying roster coming up later this year. We saw a lot of exciting players called up and also a lot of questionable players called up as well, which we'll get to in a little bit. But first, if you're not subscribed and you guys love USA Soccer and MLS content, subscribe down below. And while you're down there, hit the like button as well. Helps the channel out, helps me sleep better at night, and it just makes you a better person. So without further ado, let's get to it. The way I want to go ahead and structure this video is going to be just giving you guys first my quick reaction on the whole roster itself. I don't want to go too much into depth on the roster reaction. If you guys want a further big analysis of the roster, go check out my fellow USMNT content creators here on YouTube, Sam from Yank Report, Felipe from Tactical Manager, and of course Pete from 11 Yanks. They did some awesome videos on that, so shout out to you guys over there. And then after I give you guys my quick reaction, we're going to go ahead and get into the main topic of the video, which is the 5 players that I think need to have a big performance this summer at the Gold Cup for the USA. So let's go ahead and first talk about this roster right here. Just some quick thoughts. Players I'm excited to see, of course, Matt Turner. I want to see how he performs at the Gold Cup with the USA. Of course, Gianluca Busio, midfield. I think he's going to be obviously one of the fan favorites, a player that we've all been requesting to see at the senior level, and we finally get to see him happen. Eric Williamson from Portland Timbers, another player that I'm excited to see. I want to see what he can bring and offer to the table for the USA this summer. Of course, also George Bello, another fan favorite so far, a player that a lot of us have wanted to see on a USA roster for many, many months now. He finally gets to debut himself here and show what he can offer the USA at this level. Also excited to see Shaq Moore as well, who is playing in the second division of La Liga, who I think has been called up before for the USA in recent years, but I think he could offer a lot more to us. At least I want to see what he could offer this ever-growing list of talented right backs the USA has at its disposal. And despite what Pete says from 11 Yanks, 24 is not that old, guys. Don't worry. He's got a lot of time to prove himself. Maybe not as an A squad, but maybe definitely at this kind of level with the USA. He deserves a spot. Or at least hopefully he shows us how he can deserve a spot here at the at the Gold Cup. And then, of course, Daryl Dike and Matthew Hoppe, 2 other players I'm excited to see. Players I'm not excited to see or just question as to why they're here in the first place. Jackson Ewell. I think we've seen what kind of player he could be, just like Christian Roldan. 2 players I feel like already are going to be MLS lifers forever the rest of their career. And, of course, Johnathan Lewis, another player that a lot of us are just like, dude, what the hell? Why is this guy even on here? Those players are just kind of, for me, the biggest question marks at the whole roster itself. Bradley Guzan you can throw in there too, but I think he's more here as like an experienced veteran player, that leader in the locker room per se, if you want to call it that. But I do expect Matt Turner to be the #1 goalkeeper for the USA come this first game against Martinique for the Gold Cup. So now on to the main topic of this video, which is the 5 players that need to have a big performance at this Gold Cup this summer for the USA if they want to cement themselves in further future USMNT rosters, especially that World Cup qualifying roster coming up later on this year. So in no particular order, of course, there's going to be players on here that maybe you don't want to see on this list, but I feel like I looked at them as like an individual, as like, yes, this player individually needs to have a good performance for themselves, for their own career at the USA level. Okay. So in no particular order, number 5. Daryl Dike, who just coming off the back of a really good loan spell at Barnsley in the second division of English soccer or English football for you people who are going to have a freaking heart attack if I say soccer. Daryl Dike is on here because this is his chance to shine. I expect him, at least I want him to start ahead of Gyasi Zardes and Matthew Hoppe. Matthew Hoppe might be used as a left winger, as Gabriel Halter has stated in an interview. So I do expect and want to see Daryl Dike as a main striker option. He might not. I feel like Berhalter might go ahead and start Zardes maybe in the first 2 games. But I think Daryl Dike needs to have a good performance because, that number 9 or just that center forward role for the USMNT, I feel, though, is still up for grabs. It could be Josh Sargent, Gyasi Zardes, Daryl Dike, Matthew Hoppe if you wanted to throw him in there as well. But yeah, I feel like there's always a lot of competition now with a lot of USA soccer fans who are trying to talk about Daryl Dike should start or no, Josh Sargent should start. There's always that back and forth. So for Daryl Dike, if he wants to be that main striker, he needs to come in here and score some goals. A lot of people are giving Josh Sargent a lot of hate because he's not scoring goals despite the other production he has for the USMNT when he's playing on the field for them. But despite what the casual fans say, Josh Sargent is a good number 9. He's a good striker for the USA. I know he's not scoring goals, but I worry for him. If Daryl Dike is on here and scoring goals and like, having a good performance at the Gold Cup, and like, of course, scoring goals, being a workhorse, or just really being a big threat for the USA going forward, he could push or put pressure on Josh Sargent and probably could make himself as the main go-to striker for Berhalter at the USMNT striker role. Number 4 here is going to be a player that a lot of us are wondering as to why they're on the roster in the first place. And that, of course, is Johnathan Lewis. Yeah. Why is he on here? I don't know. We got to ask Greg Berhalter because we had much better options on here. Johnathan Lewis is really not even starting games for Colorado Rapids. He's got 1 goal and 8 appearances so far this MLS season. He's only started 11% of Rapids games this season. He's a bench warmer. He needs to come in here and prove all his criticism wrong. There's much better options out there, at least in my opinion. Chris Mueller, Cade Cowell even would have been a better option. I don't see why he's on here. So with all this criticism he's been getting from USA Soccer fans, I feel like he needs to come in here, light it up, prove to himself, and to all of us, you guys are wrong about me, and here I am performing well at the Gold Cup, scoring goals, putting some killer crosses, giving some assists, or just being a good workhorse, putting in all my passion, all my pride to play for the team at this tournament and just give it his all. If he does that, he has a good performance, that's fine with me, because that's only going to help our national team out this tournament anyway. So he needs to have a big performance. He needs to come in here and prove all his haters wrong, prove your boy Drew wrong too. But I worry for him. Number 3 here is going to be a player that we are all finally excited to see play for the senior squad of the USMNT. I think he's earned his first cap at this Gold Cup, and that, of course, is going to be George Bello, the left back from Atlanta United in MLS. The reason I put George Bello on here is for one main reason, basically. I want him to have a big performance so he can show Greg Berhalter, hey, man, I know I'm not going to start over Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson is most likely the starting left back for everybody, at least for me it is. Of course, we have Sergio Dessa who can play at left. We have Tim Ream as well. We got Sam Vines and now George Bello. But that's pretty much it. The left back position is really slim, just really, really weak. The depth pool is really weak. The players are good, but it's just not as deep as I want it to be. Not as deep as the right back position, per se. But George Bello needs to come in here and kind of prove himself. Look, I know I'm not going to start over Robinson, but I definitely should be second runner-up. I should definitely be ahead of Sam Vines in the picking order for this left back position. If Robinson can't play, it should not be Sam Vines taking place. It should be George Bello taking his place. And I want him to come in here, at least in my eyes, my opinion, I think George Bello is a much better player going forward than Sam Vines. He's just a much better player in general than Sam Vines. I think Sam Vines is going to be an MLSer forever. And George Bello, I don't see him staying in MLS his whole career. So I want him to come in here, hit the ground running, be strong, prove to Greg Berhalter, yeah, I am your number 2 left back. Here is why I'm going to light it up here at the Gold Cup. So George Bello, let's do this, man. So number 2 is another player that we are all very, very excited. Maybe the most excited, most anticipated player to watch on the field. And that, of course, is Gianluca Busio. Why is he on here? Well, this guy is going to have a lot of eyes on him this tournament. Because why? He is linked with so many clubs across the sea in Europe, especially mainly Serie A team. Fiorentina is probably leading the charge right now for Busio's signature. And I believe at the end of this Gold Cup, he should have a new team. So with given all that information, he needs to come in here and prove to these teams I'm just a teenager from MLS. You guys are scouting me, and this is why you're scouting me. Here is why I'm scoring goals. He's got 2 goals, 1 assist, and 12 appearances for Kansas City so far in MLS. He can play all of midfield, down the middle. He can play as a center mid, attacking mid, defensive mid even. He's played there a couple times for Kansas City, and even 2 appearances as a makeshift center forward for Kansas City. This guy can play all of center mid. It's awesome. He's got so much versatility. I love it. I want him to see him come in here. First of all, get some good playing time. I want to see him play, and I want him to have some good performances. I want to see what all the hype is about. At least I want him to show everybody what all the hype is about. So Busio, I'm rooting for you, baby. And my number 1 player that I think needs to have a big performance or just have some good performances at the Gold Cup this summer is Matt Turner. Why? Well, because of the ever-growing competition between Zach Steffen and Matt Turner, who should start, who shouldn't start. in my opinion, I feel like Zach Steffen is the undisputed number one goalkeeper for the USMNT on his best. He is number one. You guys can't change my mind about that. Sorry. But number two, is it Ethan Horvath? Is it Matt Turner? Is it David Ochoa? Is it Marcinkowski? Who knows? For me, it's Ethan Horvath. So number three, like I said, it's up for grabs. Like it's just another position that whereas the main starter is kind of already solidified, but the backups need to be solidified as well. We can only bring 3 goalkeepers, I believe, at the World Cup qualifiers later this year. And if Matt Turner wants to prove himself and just cement himself in that top 3 goalkeepers for the USMNT, he's got to come in here, make some big boy saves, make a good performance. His team, New England Revolution, are top of the Eastern Conference in the MLS. And he's helped them get there. 3 clean sheets and 11 appearances so far this season. Not doing too bad, but he's got competition with David Ochoa, Marcinkowski, Ethan Horvath. And I feel like every day the list goes on for goalkeepers or young goalkeepers USMNT is putting out there. But if he wants to be considered as the top 3 goalkeepers for the USMNT roster pool, he needs to come in here, have a big performance, and then he will definitely be on that roster for the World Cup qualifiers later on this year. That's all I have for you guys today. That is my list of players that I think need to have a big performance this summer at the Gold Cup. And also, I want to know your thoughts, like your players that you want to see have a big performance this summer at the Gold Cup. And while you're down there, be sure you guys hit the like button. It really helps the channel out and helps me sleep better at night, like I said. So think about that. And also, while you're down there, let me know how you feel about the roster in general. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Hey, does anybody know how to get rid of poison ivy quick? Because I'm freaking dying over here. Mira, rojo y todo. Mira, me pica. It's itchy. I'm dying. Leave your tips down below.